Thank you very much for joining to this session. We are very happy to have KC Ravuri with us. Krishna Chaitanya Ravuri, we will call him KC, with the very active member from Hyderabad. But before I get into that, let me give a very brief overview. And before that, I will say thank you very much to all the participants again. In the chat section, as you can see, we have many people joining from different parts of Asia. You can also put your introduction in the chat section. Um, as I can read, we have Usha from Sikkim, Kirti from Telangana, Ahimsa from Gwalior, Srishti from Nepal, Sham from Hyderabad, Nabila from Karnataka, Casey from Hyderabad, of course. Thank you very much, everyone, joining from different parts of India and even outside India as well. So, in this session, what we're going to talk about is generally we'll quickly look into what Asian HA Challenge has been so far, and after that, I'll give it over to KC Ravuri so that he can talk about what is identification process on iNaturalist look like, and how you can also help us in doing the identifications. So, if I visit the iNaturalist project on Asian Nature Challenge 2025. I'm also sharing the link here in the chat section. In case you have not seen the latest status, you can see that. And Casey is also sharing his screen with the statistics on the screen. So here you can see we are close to around 86,000 observations of 14,000 species by 6,000 plus observers. Now, if you see the number of identifiers is very less as of now. And also, Casey, if you can go down, you will be able to see the research grade percentage, like how many observations have been converted into research grade so far. It is not a race for us. We do not encourage that, like we should have this much percentage of research grade. But what we have been able to do last year was we had like more than 50% observations as research grade observation. Now here the idea is there are multiple things which we focus on. Currently, you can see the research grade percent is more than 33%. It would be good to see more than half of the observations as research grade, but we understand this is not always desirable and not always possible. There are a number of things which can be taken care of while we upload observations or while we are in the identification phase. Number one, we do not want non-wild identifications or observations on the project. So you can see if there is any casual observation which has been uploaded as an SID currently, you can mark it as captive or cultivated. So that is also one of the steps in the identification process, that whenever you see a non-wild organism there which is captive or cultivated, you mark it so. And that will eventually help us in increasing the research grade percentage. Although the idea is not to increase the research grade percent, but it is to show the to reflect the right kind of observations which we want in the project. So that is number one. And second is whenever all these observations which we have, we would definitely want to see what kind of organisms are there. So you can even just contribute by let's say moving the unknown observations from unknown to the other Dexa. So right now, as you can see, we I think have around 13,000 observations which are unknown. So it would be good if we can move them to one of the respective Texans. So with that, I will give it over to Casey. Please give a brief introduction of yourself, a little bit more from what I know. I've been working with Casey for a very long time. He has been a very, very active contributor from Hyderabad, India. And mostly he is very active when it comes to identifications. If you have uploaded your observations from Hyderabad, you have most likely seen one of Ravuri's identifications on your iNaturalist observation. So with that, I'll give it over to Casey.
I'm a software engineer who works at Microsoft. Yeah, but many people have a confused look when I say that. That is basically the spirit of citizen science. And anybody can contribute and be a part of this community. And it's basically the way iNaturalist puts it is democratizing science. It's making everybody a contributor in this process. So yeah, I mostly identify plants are my favorite from Telangana region, and in general identification also I try to give wherever I can for insects, butterflies, etc. So yeah, so Asia Nature Challenge, there have been a lot of observations, 90,000 or more than that. I forgot the number. So, yeah, so there are a lot of observations which can be further identified. So while you've been uploading, you may have selected a taxon, but or maybe it was just a simple one like plants or insects or a higher level one. Now is the phase where we try to uh, identify to much like to the species level. That's the ideal thing. It's not always possible. Yeah, but that's the goal. Okay, so the session is going to be kind of a general identification guide, but this is applicable to in general also, not very specific to Asian Nature Challenge. We'll look at observations from Asian Nature Challenge to kind of apply what we uh, hear in the session. Yeah. Yep. Why to identify? So the why, we always start with the why. It's basically, it's kind of, for me, it's a giving back to the community. So most of the plants and other stuff that I've learned is from iNaturalist. And for me, it's a way of giving back to the community. Uh, so I keep bugging some of the experts. How is this plant different from this plant? They look the same to me. How do you differentiate between them? Then I do get the answers. So what do I do with the answers? I come back to a naturalist and I try to apply that in identifying. And yeah, this basically improves the data quality. So you have a picture of a plant, it's great, but to actually be useful for a like from a research perspective, we would need to know what that is. There are extra annotations also which you can give, extra data, but the most fundamental data would be what it is the ID. So yeah, that's why we need identifications. And as I said, so this is citizen science and everybody can identify to whatever level you know at that point. You can keep learning and keep coming back and improve your identifications. So it's like a learning process. You keep learning and growing, and then you get better. You can pick a like a group. Say some people are interested in birds, some people are interested in butterflies, some in plants, very few in plants, but yeah, you can pick a taxon and you can learn uh like you can pick a taxon in an area and go forward with learning and then identifying on an act. Yeah. So, yep. Always like we, so the images we see in this presentation are all from observations from a naturalist, but we don't always get perfect images like this. It's again citizen science, and a lot of observations are going to be pictures taken from mobile phones, which may not be able to take like, perfect images like that. That's not entirely necessary, also. And what happens because of that is you can't always get it to a species level sometimes. Like the images might be, say, if it is a plant and you see only a picture of the leaf, it's very difficult to confidently say the species level of that. So, based on the evidence that is present in the observation, you will have to give the ID. Sometimes it's not possible. It is fine. Not you. It's not possible to give a definite ID in all the observations. So it's always you go by the evidence based on what is provided in the observation. So it's not always the pictures. You can add audio, notes, description, time and place. All of these are together considered evidence which would help in the identification. Yeah, so I guess let's get started. I also have the thing handy here, so we can just do a live thing. So normally, I guess, yeah, just start from the home screen and how to get to the identifications thing, right? So this is the iNaturalist website. I'm opening this on a laptop. You can open this on a desktop, any desktop. So the web version is like the most powerful one, the mobile one. You can also identify on the mobile version, but you need a lot of patience. I've been identifying initially on the mobile, but then later I found for like if you want to identify many observations at once, the website is the best. Okay, so here you would have to, uh, if you have already joined the project, it will be listed here, but in case you haven't joined it, you can just go into the projects tab and search for Asia Nature Challenge 2025. And then you get it in the list. And here's the project page. You can head over to the observation section. And here you see the button, which is identify. And yeah, so this is the identification page. It's a bit different from the explore page. If you've seen that, here this is like more, uh, it's like best for identification kind of a thing. So here we have a lot of observations, and we have some birds here, some, I guess, the fungi. Yeah. So the thing is, we'll have to filter down. Asian Age Challenge is across Asia, and we may not have a good idea of the whole thing. So you can pick an taxon. Taxon is nothing but a group. If just quickly show you what I mean. So this is the, like, this is like the species. So this is a species of bird, and so this is the hierarchy of it. So this is the species level, and then you have the genus and family. These are all uh, these are all higher level, and this there are also subspecies which you can ID to, but species is also fine. That's this is like the best level you can get to. This is even better, but this is the best. So yeah. So why did I open the taxonomy thing is because, say you didn't know that this was a lesser racket-tailed drongo, but I guess we could still easily say it's a bird. So in case this observation had no idea, I would have identified it as a bird at least, so that at least people who filter by birds can see that observation, right? So that's what we help where we can. And yeah, let's see. What do we filter by? So first you could pick a place. Place will make things simpler. This is all over Asia, and most of the things I'm not familiar with. If you are familiar with, you could go ahead, but I'll filter India so that I'll have some more context of the things. And here you have, these are some categories. These are just, I mean, these are again taxons, but these are like higher level ones, which are, it's just quick for people instead of typing birds, you can just select it here. But yeah, so we have a lot of different options here in the filter bar. But the important options are like here we get the categories of what you want to search for, you want to filter for. This unknown is a very important category where uh, even if we have very little idea of uh, any particular group of organisms, we can all help in this part. So I'll just show this one first. Yeah, so we see an observation, and I believe the subject of this is definitely the insect here, and this is a moth. But I don't know which moth, but so I'll just type moth, and we
Yes, see,
get yeah.
just 1 second, I wanted to interrupt here and draw everyone's attention to the placeholder which is mentioned there.
I think there was no
So in this
placeholder
case,
for
the
this one.
placeholder is moth, very straightforward. But if someone has mentioned a
Hmm.
placeholder, then we usually suggest to copy the placeholder in the tell us why option.
Yep, yep.
Okay, you can continue.
Yeah, and yeah, here I'll try to see if there is a observation with the placeholder, so I can explain that better. But yeah, here, uh, so definitely this is some species of moth, and this is order Lepidoptera, which is the higher level taxon for all butterflies and moths. So yeah, so there we identified it. And so, I mean, how does this help? I mean, if anybody could say this is a moth, but say if there's a, a moth expert who wants to identify, then they would directly search for Lepidoptera and this would reach them, right? So that's how this was helpful. And there are actually a lot of shortcuts in this page which will help you do stuff quickly. You can see them if you click the keyboard shortcuts. And yeah, these are very important. I to add ID, C to add a comment, A to agree, and X to mark as capped or cultivated, right? Okay, so I'll go to the next observation and three different species. Yeah, so this was an observation made by a user where you can see there are three different plants. These are so ideally there should be one observation for one species seen at one point of time. For example, this plant should get a separate observation, this plant should get a separate observation, and this one should get a separate observation. But they were all put together, which shouldn't be the case. So yeah, you can leave comments like these so that the user can come back and split them into multiple observations. And yeah, here it's best to not provide an idea at this point because there are multiple species in this one. So yeah, so this is the data stewardship part of identification. It's like basically you feel like you are taking after looking after the observations, right? I feel that for the observations from Telangana, I keep looking at observations every day and uh, basically helping new users try to get used to iNaturalist and yeah, basically help them with fixing mistakes like this to improve the overall data of the platform. Yeah, and let's look at this. So it's not really clear here. I think this could be some kind of an algae, but I really can't say. I believe the user also couldn't really say, and he left it at life. And yeah, this is confusing. I've seen it just a while before. I'm not sure why it's called unknown when there is an ID present. I'll have to check this out, make a post on the forum probably, and to understand why this was the case. And yeah, here we see this could be a shell of a millipede, but we don't know. I mean, it looks like it, but we can't see clearly. So you could leave it there, or you could give a higher level uh, identification of arthropods. Yeah, so arthropods, insects, bugs, all of them come under this. So I'm guessing this one's a millipede. So I believe you must have gotten the basic idea. And then let's see this observation. So this is a plant. Yeah, I can't say which plant, so I just mentioned plant. And this is also probably an observation of plant. But I was looking for a captive observation so that I can show you that it should be marked accordingly. Okay, it looks like you don't see them when you're looking for them. I missed it. Yeah, so here we see an aloe vera plant. So this was most likely planted uh, at that spot. So it should be marked as captive or cultivated. So the shortcut for that is X. And yeah, so this is very handy. This is part of why the website interface is very useful because it helps you like do stuff very fast because of all the keyboard shortcuts. Yeah, you give the ID, and since it's likely planted there, but you can confirm once. Uh, you could ask this question. Um, uh, I mean, sometimes it's like very clear that it was planted with, say, some pot or something. You could just, so there are some like frequently used, okay, we can do it on a new tab. Yeah, so there are some frequently used responses on iNaturalist. You can keep this website handy and yeah, so whenever you see an observation where, so yeah, here's the capture cultivated, and whenever you see an observation, you can just uh, copy and paste this message so that the user, uh, so it's just quicker for you instead of typing every time. You could quickly copy paste the message which says that this observation must be marked as captive or cultivated. And yeah, so this is how you can quickly identify. And there are some more things also. For example, this is the common name for this is Tridax daisy, but I need not type the entire name. I can type part of the, okay, trailing daisy and Tridax daisy are matching. So, okay. Yeah, so I can just type part of each word, even the either the scientific name or the common name, you can type it partly. Uh, yeah. So sometimes what happens is a lot of plants don't have common names and it's the scientific names. And yeah, I keep forgetting the spelling, but still, if I can remember the first three letters of each word, that is enough to get it in the search list. This is a very helpful shortcut. I think it's the same in eBird. I remember someone saying it's the same in eBird, but yeah, here also you can. So ideally, you should be marking all of this as plants. So, but I'm just trying to look at. So this I know is a teak tree, very likely. Yeah. So a lot of times you may not be able to identify it to the species level because sometimes they're very similar looking stuff, which is uh, not the same species that you're thinking it is. So in that cases, you might want to, when you're not entirely sure of the species level ID, you can go for a higher level ID, which is genus, uh, or maybe very basic plants also is helpful. Yeah, so this is just one of the filter. And instead, if you if somebody likes birds, they can filter for birds. And again, a specific region, it could be say West Bengal. And yeah, you could go and yeah, so there are lots of bird observations here. And so you could there's also another filter option which is helpful. I'll show that. So say you're searching for plants and you want to look at plants which are stuck at one particular level. That is, so suppose like there, like you want to sort for plants in the legume family, you could just search by that family, and then you could again go through them and identify them. And I guess I'll switch to the presentation. I actually forgot how to do that one. Yeah, let's see how much we've already covered. So yeah, this is for identifying unknowns. This is where every one of us can help, and it could be as basic as giving uh, plants or fungi or birds, right? And yeah, this is the same thing here. So there was a mushroom which was unidentified, so we could give an idea of fungi to this. And yeah, you can actually, this is a useful thing. So whenever you put some filters on it, they're all added into the URL. So if you can just copy this URL and paste it somewhere else, you get that exact uh, filtered version of it. So you could, if you're like keen on looking at say butterflies of a particular place, you can bookmark that link and you could just go to that link directly. You need not apply the filters each time. Okay, that's a useful tip. And then yeah, this is so in the this is about uh the various options in the identify page. Yeah, so these are all the useful shortcuts. There's also A for agree. So if you have the community ID is already say, for example, now here it's Bolander's bedstraw. And if I know it is that and I come up with this, I reach this observation, I would just click A, which would agree to that. Yeah. So this is for sorting my observations which are stuck at a higher taxonomic level. For example, these are all Asteraceae, which is the daisy family. marigolds and daisies. So you want to, this was what I was looking for. Yep, you filter them for, so they are at, let's say this one is at, where's family here? Yeah, family or lower, uh, or just say family or, yeah, it's at family exactly. So we have two observations which are stuck at legumes, and you could give a, more closer ID of this plant, but I don't know both of these, so I think I'll leave them both at that level. So again, you can't identify uh, every observation you come across. There's going to be a lot of skipping through them with the ones you don't know, and that's all things to learn. So you should feel happy if you're skipping through a lot of them. It's one way of looking at it. And yeah, so this is again the same thing to help. So this was initially Asteraceae, which is the family level. That's a higher level, and that was brought down to a subtribe, which is a much lower level, so uh, closer to the species ID. Yeah, and yeah, this is something that happens when there's a disagreement. For example, here you can see the person had a, so one user was saying that this, uh, okay, I don't know how to pronounce that, Tokalote, I guess, and then there's a prostate, uh, Cape Weed, and both of them are Asteraceae, but you see the genus are different. So the common point for both of these was Asteraceae. So first the user identified it as something, and then another person disagreed. So now Asteraceae is the common point for both of them. So the you get this one. So this is the observation ID. And I think this one would also be the community ID. Uh, and yeah, if you are sure, you can agree to one of them, or maybe both of them could be wrong and it's something else entirely. But yeah, so you get these kind of disagreements also, which would be uh, a good place to contribute. Actually, disagreements are the place where you learn a lot, because that's where someone was confident it was one thing and the other person is making the correction. So usually you can ask questions, and they would reply like what exactly made it the other one. Yeah. Yeah. So these are about disagreements, and there is also, if you can spot this, like filter specifically for disagreements, and you could help there if you are sure. Again, like it's not as Ram said initially, the goal is not to like push them to research career. The goal is to help where we can, right? So we may not fully uh, know that thing, so it's fine. So we just contribute where we can, and we learn where we cannot. Where we cannot contribute, we learn. Like how exactly is it that thing, and like how do you identify them? How do they look? How do they? I mean, what is the kind of habitat they're in? So you keep learning when you can't identify. Yeah, these are anomalies which happen sometimes while uploading the observations. I feel it happens the most when the users use Google Lens or some other identification tool. iNat usually provides suggestions based on that particular location. Sometimes it also goes to like far away, like some of the suggestions are like way off, but usually it's for surrounding areas. But when a user selects some option, some identification, which is say they made an observation in India and gave the ID of something which is mostly in the United States. So then that's an anomaly. And yeah, location, time, date, those could also be wrong sometimes, which could be, I mean, accidental or something. So uh, sometimes they do lead to interesting discoveries. So uh, there was a discovery of a weevil, which is an insect that which is not previously seen in India, which is, I think it was a pest for eucalyptus trees. Yeah, so it was found out by one of the users of iNaturalist. And yeah, it at first, I think the person must have thought, no way this could be here. And then it was truly the, I think it was originally from Australia, and then it became a important discovery to stop the spread when it starts. So yeah, anomalies are again very interesting. You could look through anomalies, and many of them could be just incorrect, like incorrect evidence or information entered by the user, but sometimes they could really become cool discoveries. And yep, we could also, there are a lot more stuff like we've already talked about captive and cultivated, uh, the option to select. Even on the mobile, you can mark this. On any platform, you can mark this while uploading. But if someone forgot to mark this, you could, like an identifier also can do it. It's best to also make a comment so that the user also knows about it, and like they, if they have other observations, they could themselves mark it as captive or cultivated. And yeah, there's sometimes we do see like all the data you upload to iNaturalist must be your own. And yeah, sometimes users uh, pick pictures from website or some online sources or something, which is a violation of the platform rules. You should upload content that you have ownership of and which is your own. So you can flag them. And I believe that's mostly what I that should get you started for identifications. There are lots of other stuff. I'm not sure what I've missed. So I think if there are comments or uh, Ram, can we do
Yeah.
Q&A on
Yes.
the
So
existing
basically,
comments?
there are multiple things here. Like, as Casey rightly said, one is to identify the observations of the species itself. So that is one goal of the identification process. But the second one is also the curation, or basically, what do we say? Like, just ensuring that the data on iNaturalist is correct, the quality is good, and if there are any ill practices being followed, you report them as well. So there are various ways by which we can do.
Yeah.
So let's open for questions now and see if anyone wants to ask anything. Usha is asking, how do I delete an observation mistakenly added to ANC but was of a previous date? You can simply go and edit the date and write, mention the correct date there. You can always go
So
back to your observations and edit
was
them.
the date changed to something within the ANC range? If it is not, if it was of a previous date, it is fine. I mean, if it was uploaded correctly, say you click that picture in January, and if it is uploaded as a picture of January, it's fine. It won't be counted towards ANC, but it will be on iNaturalist, which is great.
Yeah. whenever we upload or when you go to any observation, you'll be able to see what is the date and time and what is the location. Just make sure that those things are correct. So Usha says this was of September 27. See, that is not the point. The point is with every photo, as you can see here, there is a date which is mentioned. This date should be correct. If you have mentioned 27th of September, then you are all set. If it is mentioned as today's date by mistake, go and correct it in your observations. Second question from Indra is, if photos are clicked by any second phones, can we still upload on iNaturalist? Yes, you can upload photos which are taken by any phone using any camera or any device. You should have the rights of using these photos. They should be your photos.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it happens like one of my friends just shares me a photo and says, "What is this?" So I can get their permission and upload it. So the thing is, it's not these observations that we're concerned about. Like directly say, some users, and I'm not sure why, but pick a picture from a website and upload it to iNaturalist. So those are the ones that we are more like warning about. Second phone and all is fine.
Yeah. You all are free to unmute yourself now if you want to ask anything, or if you want us to show anything else or any different question, any different thing you want to explore. So what's going to be your next section like? And is anyone interested to unmute yourself, or maybe you can also put in the chat section. Based on the learnings from this session, what do you want to start with? So if I tell you the current state of Asia Nature Challenge, we need, of course, we need more identifications. So in one of my LinkedIn posts, I have mentioned the number of species which are stuck in different taxonomic levels or different taxa. So you can pick whichever you are interested in. For example, if you want to identify spiders or plants, you can do that. Or you can simply identify the unknowns and you can put them in a correct taxa. Okay, so if there are no more questions, we can close the session.
Yep.
Okay, so thank you very much, Casey, for taking this session today. People found it really nice. I am sure that we all will be able to use this knowledge and apply. I'll say, can you also show them the keyboard shortcuts here in the bottom left of your screen?
Yep. They're at the corner. I mean, if anybody forgets, it's fine. It's just a button at the corner. So the important one is this one, add ID, I for that, and comment, and yeah.
Jimmy is asking, will we get certificates? Yes, you will get certificates for participating in Asia Nature Challenge as an observer, as an identifier, not for the sessions. And there is now that we have some time, maybe you can also show the data quality tab here. So if you find any issues with the observations, you can always go to the data quality, where you can mention that, let's say someone is I was seeing someone has uploaded photo of a burnt wood, so they thought we can upload it. Or let's say someone has uploaded photos of a cloud, they thought that we could upload it, and they uploaded. If it is the case, then you can mark the respective research grade qualification here and mark it as none. So there is something called evidence of organism. You can just say this is there is no organism in the photo. So this is how you can mark the photos which do not have anything.
Yeah, when we have as we've seen some time before, there was an observation with 3-4 plants in the same observation. You could in that case you should be selecting evidence related to a single object, thumbs down, because there were multiple plant pictures in that. Yeah.
So we don't want to overwhelm you with so many information, but you are free. We recommend you to please check all these 4 sections here: info, suggestions, annotations, and data quality. You'll be able to do a lot of interesting stuff if we use all of them. But as a beginner, I will say, what you can start with is just putting very basic annotations. Sorry, not annotations, identifications, and also marking something captive cultivated if you think that is the case. But then as you slowly start to contribute more as identified, then you would also need these other tabs where you can use the suggestions, you can put annotations, you can also put some data quality related tags as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much, Casey. Thank you all the participants for joining us today. We'll send an email with the recording of this session and also some of the links which you can use. We have 2 more days in the identification phase of Asian HA challenge still left. So please use this weekend, identify as many observations as you can, and that will definitely help us. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye. Good night.
Thanks, Ram and Ashwin, for giving me this chance to take the session.
Yes, this was really useful. And if you are wondering about the wonderful presentation which Casey used for today's session, this was from the iNaturalist Ambassador Program. So once you get into all these things, slowly, as iNaturalist says, there are these 2 wheels on which the bicycle of iNaturalist is running. One is observations and second is identifications. So as you all have already started uploading observations, please also start doing identifications at whatever level you are comfortable with. And after you are comfortable in doing both of them, then you can know about other things, other stuffs iNaturalist is doing, and you can be part of them as well. If you have any further questions, you can always get in touch with me or the Asian HA Challenge team or Casey. You have our information email ID with us. We feel free to write the email. You can check the